Say you're starting a new business or you've been going for a little bit and you need a website. What are you going to do? Chances are you're going to take those TV commercials and digital ads that you've seen and you might go look at Wix and SquareSpace because they talk about how easy a site is to build with them, how flexible it is, how great it is, that kind of thing. But are there limitations to those websites? And something that you may not even be thinking about right now because it might seem too technical is a WordPress website. Now, I just want to preface this by saying that I fully agree with the fact that there is a time and place for a Wix or Squarespace or another website builder website. When you're just starting out and you just need a digital footprint, they can be a great low-cost option. Just takes some or a lot, depending on how picky you are, of your time to go through and create a website with one of those website builders. However, I do want to make sure that you are going into with your eyes open, that you know exactly what you're getting into with a website builder like Wix and Squarespace, and how something like WordPress stacks up against them. Now, WordPress, I'm talking about WordPress.org, actually comes with a whole bunch of themes, plugins, and things like that to make it easier to use and more of that drag and drop feel that you would see on Wix and Squarespace. So let's just take that out of the game completely. There are options out there. It just takes a little bit of help, maybe watching a YouTube video or having the right website host to get that set up for you correctly. But WordPress is not any more technical than Wix or Squarespace. So we're going to remove that from the board altogether. Now, the first things first here, your website is the foundation to your marketing. There's just no other way to put this. I just taught digital marketing this last semester at Wichita State, and one of the first things we talked about was owned media versus earned media. So owned media is your company's marketing that you 100% own and control. And your website is the main piece of your owned media. There is nothing else that you can have 100% control on like your website. It is so imperative. And every single ad that you run on Facebook, every single Google search campaign ads that you run, even your newspaper ads, if that's your thing, or anything like that, they all are going to lead back to your website. So you want to make sure that you have 100% control of your website. There is just, I could talk about that for an hour, honestly. So that's something that I want you to keep in mind, that control and being able to have 100% ownership of your website is so, so imperative to having a good foundation for your marketing. And that's how I'm approaching this. Now, Wix and Squarespace, they fully acknowledge that you own the copyright to whatever you create on their platform. That actually wasn't always true. Just FYI. And you want to be careful because other website builder platforms, you want to go check the terms and conditions because you may be assigning copyrights over to that website platform builder because you're building in their ecosystem. You don't own anything that you're creating on their ecosystem, not really, because it only can live on that service. Whereas WordPress, you could download a bunch of files, if you're doing this the more technical way, from WordPress.org, and you can upload those files to any host that can handle a WordPress site, which honestly is any web host anymore because WordPress powers 35% of the internet. Let's just drop that nugget in there. So here's the thing that's really important with this, with the fact that you download files for WordPress and you can move those around to different hosts versus always having your website ecosystem like Wix or Squarespace. You can move those files anywhere with WordPress. You can't with Wix and Squarespace. Not only that, if Wix or Squarespace were to go out of business tomorrow, your website could very well be lost. They don't really have to give you a way to back up your website. You can't even back up a website on Wix. I know you can on Squarespace. It has a better reputation for being downloadable and movable. But if they were to go out of business, you could lose your website. And that could be all sorts of data, tons of work, everything that's just gone. If WordPress were to go out of business tomorrow, the code would still work. You would have plenty of time to switch your code base, to go to something else, and not have to worry about losing any of the data because you own it, you control it. So, first things first, it depends on how much control that you are comfortable and even how much control you need to have over your website. So Wix and SquareSpace are great for getting started. They're not so great for the longevity of your business. And here's the thing that I hear from a lot of people about the costs associated with, say, Wix versus Squarespace versus WordPress. Now, most Wix and Squarespace plans, the ones that are built for businesses and that use the bare minimum of what you pay about $18 a month. And then you as an individual, if you're a solopreneur, for instance, you can spend anywhere from 10 to 40 hours getting your website up. And you have to think about where your time could be better used, how frustrated you want to be, that kind of thing. Now with WordPress, because you can literally host it anywhere, the variations between pricing is huge. The code itself is free. Then you might be able to find a premium theme for, say, $60 with a drag and drop builder, all included, that kind of thing. That's a one-time fee that you pay, or an annual, depending on what you're looking for. And then hosting-wise can start anywhere from $8 a month with a good Bluehost plan to $30 a month at a really good website hosting provider like WP Engine. And when you pay more per month, you have better customer support. So keep that in mind. Because I wait for WP Engine support for about 1 to 2 minutes tops every single time. Let's not talk about GoDaddy and how long I've been on hold with them before. So another thing to keep in mind is when you're on a specific platform, your choices are going to be a little bit limited. Now, Wix, they have a really bad reputation for only having a variety of themes, not giving you a lot of options to move things around, and just, and I've used them for my clients. They're not my favorite platform for that because it's just all very generic. I feel like not a lot of flexibility. Squarespace has a lot of developers that go in and make different themes. They have a lot more flexibility and a lot more themes and templates to choose from. But the downside to choosing one of these popular templates, especially if you're any kind of niche, your website can look a lot like a competitor's. That's what happens when you choose a template that 10,000 other people are using. But WordPress is an open source platform, meaning anybody can write code, can create themes, plugins, all that kind of things for WordPress itself. So you're able to choose from thousands of different options, a lot more variations, and WordPress allows you to direct edit code. So you can customize beyond what the theme author is giving you. You can't do that on Wix and Squarespace because, believe me, I have tried. So you have a lot more flexibility for your look on WordPress than you would on Wix and Squarespace. That's not even touching on the fact that you can have a theme custom coded for your business and have a completely 100% unique website for your business that is not like any other template or theme out there. They might have some, pieces that are similar because of website trends and things, but it's custom 100% for your business. I may know somebody who could help you with that route. Just saying. So now back to Wix and Squarespace. So this one's big for me because I have clients who have websites on Wix, who have websites on Squarespace. I don't love it when I get to edit those sites, but I'm a little bit used to their ecosystem now. What I've noticed is while Squarespace claims that they have responsive code, so that means the size of the website responds to the browser as it gets smaller, or you get a smaller device like, say, your phone. Wix, on the other hand, appears to use adaptive technology. That means you get served a different version of a website on the phone versus what you're using on your desktop. Now, for the most part, Wix is pulling that desktop version. They're shrinking it down on the mobile, and it's easier. But what I've noticed when making updates for clients who have Wix websites is sometimes I have to go make that update twice. I have to do it on the desktop app, and then I have to do it on the mobile version. And that's maddening because I might forget to do that. And if you didn't know, you may have things that you've added on the desktop version that are not there on the mobile. So that's one thing to keep an eye out for. Now, I haven't seen a WordPress website theme say it's adaptive for probably about 5 years. You're pretty good, but if you're looking for a WordPress theme, just make sure it includes the tags that it's word responsive design, and you're good to go. Okay, so here's the thing that people may argue with me a little bit on. WordPress is just better for your SEO, for search engine optimization. Now look, WordPress was built as a blogging platform. Blogging is undoubtedly one of the best ways to improve your on-page SEO because it hits multiple things. It allows you to provide more keyword-related, more narrowly focused content than a single homepage or a content other content pages can do. It also helps you hit the Google freshness factor. It helps you do internal linking within your website, and I can go on and on and on. WordPress being built for blogging from the outset for the last it's been at least 10, 11 years now. More. I was building WordPress in 2007, I think. So when you think about how long WordPress has been focused on blogging and SEO, they're just miles ahead of competition. There's just no way. And it comes with a lot of really good built-in features and some of the best URL structure I have ever seen in another website builder. Just FYI. And all of those things are going to help improve your SEO. Now, Wix and SquareSpace, they have a lot of those same features built into their websites, but they're really hard to find for your customer, your average person, to be going through and looking and trying to edit that themselves. As somebody who's a developer and who's tech savvy, it took me too long, that I would like to admit, to find a lot of these vital pieces like meta titles and descriptions for individual pages. Those meta titles and descriptions, that's what people are looking at when they view you in Google search results. So it's really important that those are easily available, because otherwise no one's going to go do it. They're kind of buried on Wix and SquareSpace, and so that's where the real disadvantage comes in. And then, of course, WordPress lets you use plugins to superpower your website, and Yoast SEO is simply the best SEO plugin on the market. It allows you to have so much more control over what you let Google index and what you don't let Google index, and makes it really easy to add those vital SEO pieces like your meta titles and descriptions to every single page and post that you publish on your website. Deep breath. You guys can tell this is something that's really important to me, but here's the kicker for me, honestly. WordPress is just better built for longevity and flexibility. Where your business is right now is probably not where you're going to be in a year or 5 years. In fact, one of the main questions I ask my clients when I start working with them on building a custom website is, what are your plans for a year from now? Where do you hope to be in 2 years? Is there anything that you plan to add or change over the next set of terms? And being able to work through those quarterly, annual goals really helps hone in the website. And I have the flexibility within WordPress to do that and do that effectively. Wix and SquareSpace really just aren't meant for that longevity. They're not really meant for flexibility. There's a lot of costs associated, and it raises your amount per month every time you add something new. Whereas with WordPress, it's either just hiring a WordPress developer, and then it's yours. You don't have to keep paying for that change. So that's something to keep in mind too. But not only that, WordPress is just a lot more powerful. And so it grows with your business so much better than a website platform. Now, I'm just going to say it. WordPress is simply, of all the website builders out there, one of the best content management systems you can find. Again, there is a reason it powers 35% of the internet, and that stat was from 2 years ago. It might be more now. So, Wix and SquareSpace, they're great to get started. They're great to build your business. They're great to keep your costs, your initial costs, low. But WordPress is better for security, for longevity, for flexibility, and it's just a better long-term investment. So it just kind of depends on where you are in your business, what you're able to do, and how much time that you personally are planning to put into your website versus maybe having somebody else help. So with all of those things in mind, Wix v. Squarespace, I personally prefer Squarespace. I think it's more intuitive. I think they do a lot of things better than Wix. But it just kind of depends on what you're comfortable with. But if you have the ability, 100% go with WordPress, because it will be able to be your website for 5 years if that's what you need, and you'll be able to grow it in a way that you just can't on any other platform. Okay, rant over. Thank you guys so much for listening. I am looking forward to talking each week more and more about websites and the ways that you can make your business's website work for you. See y'all later.